If you were wondering whether Donald Trump's big interview with Elon Musk was actually worth it for him, it looks like we finally got our answer. According to the Trump campaign, and I hope you're ready for this, over $1 million was raised from the interview with Elon. All of $1 million. And don't get me wrong, it's $1 million, but considering Kamala Harris raised $12 million from one San Francisco fundraiser just this past weekend alone, I wouldn't exactly say that the juice was worth the squeeze, especially considering the actual interview itself did Trump zero favors. I know that Trump thinks the answer to every problem is just more Trump, but in reality, all Trump does by virtue of shoving himself in front of everybody's faces is remind us of the chaos and dysfunction that enveloped this country when he was in charge. And so in his addled mind, he decided that this was the message he wanted to send to the American people with only 3 months to go until the next election.
And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk, I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. Very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything. And he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, oh, do you think he really...
That's for sure.
Let me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship.
And that wasn't even the weird stuff. Here's Donald Trump suggesting that Kamala Harris looks like his wife, Melania, on the cover of Time magazine.
She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Although there was one promise that I actually am rooting for Donald Trump to keep.
And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. OK, so we'll go. You and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela. Because that's what's happening.
So you listen to that, where Donald Trump promises to eliminate the Department of Education in agreement with Project 2025, brags about coddling dictators, lies about Kamala Harris, and even confuses his own wife with his political opponent, and ask yourself, did Trump do anything to bring any new voters into the fold? Did he expand his coalition? Is that going to finally persuade those folks on the fence? Bring out young voters, people of color, suburban women? Is the last thing these people were waiting for some unhinged insistence by Donald Trump that he loves Kim Jong-un? I just cannot wrap my head around not only broadcasting this nonsense that does quite literally nothing to expand your tent, but not even deriving some financial benefit from it. No matter how you cut it, this is lose-lose. In fact, I'd even suggest that it's lose-lose-lose because by virtue of doing this thing on Twitter, he actually sent his own company's stock price plummeting, considering there's really no longer any rationale for a platform on which Donald Trump isn't exclusive to even exist. In the last 2 days, Trump Media, the parent company of Truth Social, plummeted more than 11%, all to align himself with Elon Musk, who's been busy posting all sorts of cooked numbers to promote the interview, saying, quote, combined views of the conversation with Donald Trump and subsequent discussion by other accounts now 1 billion. And of course, what he's doing is conflating views with impressions. He's pretending that every time the post merely appeared on a user's feed, that it's a watch. What about how many users tried 10, 20, 30 times each to refresh the interview when it was glitching initially? All of those count as individual impressions, which Elon is counting as individual views. Which is not to say that millions didn't watch it, because I presume millions did watch it, but to claim billions watched it? Might as well just say trillions at this point, since nothing actually means anything anymore. And by the way, it's not like coddling Elon Musk is going to confer some massive advantage here for Trump. The dude isn't exactly some political juggernaut. Let's take a quick look back at Elon Musk's endorsements over the last few months, which are effectively the political kiss of death. Like when he tweeted, "I voted for Mayra Flores. First time I ever voted Republican. Massive red wave in 2022. There, of course, would be no massive red wave in 2022, when in fact Republicans didn't win the Senate and only won the House by a few seats. Or this one. Vivek did more meetings with voters than all other candidates combined, then I think he will do very well in the vote on Monday. The power of an extreme work ethic is usually underestimated. Vivek literally dropped out immediately after the vote that Elon was referring to and endorsed Donald Trump. Or this one. Los Angeles is fortunate to have someone like Rick Caruso running for mayor. He's awesome. Yeah, Rick Caruso went on to lose to Karen Bass in Los Angeles. And finally, this one. I supported Yang last time, but DeSantis has a better chance of winning. DeSantis would go on to lose handily to Donald Trump in the GOP primary, but not after handing Elon the reins of this rollout. And, well, that didn't exactly go well either.
Do you remember that time that billionaire Elon Musk unveiled the new Tesla Cybertruck? And when he went to demonstrate the vehicle's supposedly bulletproof glass, they smashed two of its windows, even though they weren't supposed to break? Today's Twitter rollout of the Ron DeSantis campaign went kind of like that.
Now it's quiet. We want to welcome you to this historic Twitter Spaces event and more broadly, a first in the history of social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the... Sorry about that. We've got so many people here.
So let's see.
So they just keep crashing, huh?
Well, it's certainly an incredible honor to have Governor DeSantis make this stark announcement.
And so clearly, after watching Elon bungle DeSantis' rollout in a campaign that never managed to regain its footing from there, Trump has decided that he too would entrust a flailing campaign to Elon Musk, the guy who's literally never made a correct political prediction in his life and who seems exclusively there to destroy campaigns. Great work, Donald. Great work. As for why Donald Trump decided to do this in the first place, it's obvious. The guy is panicking. He sees his steady descent in the polls, and so he's frantically looking for any avenue to regain the spotlight. And so he figures that he'll glom onto Elon and his Twitter audience, thinking, wrongly, that more Trump will somehow help him. And that's his fatal flaw. That is his hubris at play. What Trump doesn't realize is that more Donald Trump does not help him, more Donald Trump hurts him. The more he reminds Americans of who he is and the chaos that surrounds him, the worse off he is. But because he's a malignant narcissist, he'll never understand that. And so what we're left with are moments like this one, where Donald Trump demands attention and instead shoots himself in the foot.
The people of January 6th were treated very unfairly. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
So do you think that guy should be doing more press conferences or fewer press conferences? Because if you ask me, it's probably the latter. But apparently Trump knows best, and so he decided to do this interview with Elon, which not only made him look exactly as ridiculous and unhinged as we predicted, and not only screwed over his own shareholders with Trump Media, but it also didn't even help him financially. When we call this campaign a sinking ship, that's because those ships only go in one direction: down. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that. that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.